Hey, I'm Tori from TryArt, and today we're going to talk about our watercolors. You might have seen our watercolors online or maybe in store, and we sell them in different varieties. We have watercolor in tubes and also in pans in 98 different colors. But did you know that you can also find them in dock cards for anyone who wants to experiment with all the colors of the rainbow? Let's have a look at them right now. So I have got one of our big dock cards right here. It has all 98 colors in them, and we're gonna activate some of my favorite ones. Let's start with golden yellow, because this one looks a little bit different when it's dried, but once you start activating it, it creates this beautiful golden yellow. Who knew? Let's work our way through the rainbow. So let's also do permanent maroon, which sometimes people forget about. I find that a lot. But it has this beautiful deep tone to it. Absolutely perfect. It's a red that you should not ignore. One of my favorites that can act as a darkener is actually Prussian blue hue. In watercolor, once you activate it, it becomes this beautiful, almost bright blue, kind of ultramarine-y, but it's also great to mix in with other colors if you want a darkener. Let's see, let's move to the greens. What green should we choose? There's so many. Let's do cobalt teal, which is always beautiful. Beautiful blue-green. A little bit lighter than a regular teal, but it has that beautiful cobalt in it. And then let's move on to green gold. This is a beautiful transparent green. It's great for foliage. It's great for trees. It makes beautiful colors, especially if you add red to it. Next, I'm going to move to Naples yellow in the hue, because this one too, it's a little bit, once you add onto it, it also in watercolor is a little bit different than if you use it in, say, oil or acrylic. So it's always good to see how it plays out in the different mediums. And oh, this is so much fun. There's so many. I'm going to do another yellow, because nickel azo yellow I feel like doesn't get the love it really deserves. This is also a beautiful yellow, especially once you work it in. It has a green undertone to it, but it also is slightly yellow ochre-y. And it looks very different when it's dry versus when we activate it. So you can see it's got a nice golden hue to it. Let's see, what else? Let's do transparent gold oxide, since we're talking about the oxides, because this one is beautiful as well. It's actually not very goldy, it's very red tinted. Think of it more like a copper gold oxide, but it's so beautiful. And it's beautiful to mix with colors as well. It's also very transparent, because it's transparent gold oxide. So let's do one more brown. Let's do Van Dyke brown, because that is also a perennial favorite for watercolorists. And just look how quickly that these dots are actually activating. Like, I'm barely using any water, and you could use this so well. It's creating so much color, and there's so much pigment in these. You don't need a lot of water. I'm also going to do one of the whites, just so that you can hopefully see, but they're so highly pigmented, I bet you will be able to see them. I'm gonna pick warm white. I love warm. See what I said? It activates so quickly, you can't even see the black line around the dot anymore. That's how pigmented these are, and you barely need any water to activate these at all. Okay, we're moving into the real darks now. Let's go with, my favorite is Payne's Gray. A fun fact about me is I actually don't really use black in my own personal palette. I use Payne's Gray, or I use other colors as darkeners. But look at that, it's like a storm cloud has come. Payne's Gray is a beautiful blue-black. You can really pull it out, you can lighten it to make a very beautiful blue-gray without it actually being full black. But let's try one of the blacks. I'm gonna go with Mars Black. And again, very little water. And look at how beautifully that's activating. Now these are the fun colors. we're moving into the iridescence and the interferences. So the iridescents are all our metallic colors, and then the interferences are beautiful like prismatic colors. So let's start with iridescent pale gold. This little baby needs a little bit more water. So these ones are semi-transparent, but you can see how it's coming. These ones need a little bit more work, mostly because it does have the metallics in it, so they dry a little bit harder, but you can see how all those metallic shine is coming. And she's just puddling, she's having a good time. And then rose gold is also a favorite of mine. She's coming a little bit more quickly. I think it's because I gave her a compliment. Beautiful metallic colors. And then let's try some of the interference. The interference colors are really neat because they're actually pieces of mica that are covered in titanium white. And the thickness of the titanium white around the mica actually bounces back different colors. That's why we're able to get so many different colors bounce back. Think of it the same way that light bounces through water and that's how it creates a rainbow. We're doing the exact same thing but in paint. So let's start with interference. Oh, there's so many. Let's do interference green. So these ones are a little bit more transparent, so you can still see the black outline. But you can either mix these with other colors to create beautiful effects, or put them on top of other colors to create that rainbow effect. These ones too, they're a lot better once they dry and you're able to tilt the paper, because that's really when the rainbow comes out. Let's do one more though. Interference. Let's do interference violet. We didn't do a lot of purples. Did we do? We didn't do any purples.
We gotta do some purples.
We gotta do some purples. We're gonna have to go back. So interference violet is gonna be the same. She's coming though, you can see her. It's gonna be super beautiful. And then let's go back and do a violet. I'm gonna do dioxazine violet. This one's one of my favorites as well. She's also a beautiful darkener. And you can see I barely touched her and she's ready to come out. And there we go. We worked our way through the rainbow, 98 colors. But let's also go through a smaller dot pack so we can see some of the more traditional palettes that you can use on paper. So this one is our 12 color dot card. This one is really great if you love to go out and paint plein air, or even if you just want a little sample kit so that you can try out some basic colors. So we still have a rainbow, which is fantastic. So let's try them out on some paper so you can actually see how they transfer from the dot to the paper so beautifully. So let's start with the Aerolite Yellow Medium. So you can see it's starting to activate on there. Let's pull it down onto the paper. Beauty. And again, I'm barely using any water to get these activated. They're ready to go. These are especially perfect, like I said, for traveling. This one is Naphthol Orange. It's a great orange for mixing, keeping your colors really clean. And then we have Naphthol Red. Also really, really beautiful red, especially for mixing. And then we have the Quinacridone Red. So this one is a little bit different from the Naphthol because it does have more of a pinky undertone. So you can get both shades of red. You can go whichever way you like with it. And Brilliant Purple, which I think the name speaks for itself. It's a beautiful like mid-tone purple. You can add it in with your reds to create a beautiful red purple. Or with any of your blues, get like a nice lilac color. And then Dioxine Violet, which we already talked about. This is a great darkener, so you can really see the difference between the Brilliant Purple and the Dioxine. And we've got our Phthalo Blue Green shade, which is always a great blue to work with and have on hand. This one is highly, highly staining. Any phthalo blue is going to be a very high staining color. And then ultramarine blue. This is actually one of my favorite blues to work with. It's also a really nice darkening blue. It's a little bit more of a purpley undertone, which is always so beautiful. And in the watercolors, we do sell ultramarine blue classic or modern. The real main difference between the two is that modern does have a touch of phthalo blue in it, which makes it a little bit more opaque. So if you would like a more opaque ultramarine blue, go for the modern. If you want classic, go for classic. You really can't make a bad choice when you're going for ultramarine. And then this one is Phthalo Green Blue shade, which is always beautiful. It's a very bright, vibrant green. If you're using it and doing landscapes, if you're out in a field somewhere painting, it's really great to mix with other colors to create a beautiful like leaf green. And then we have Burnt Umber. So you can tell we did raw umber earlier. This one's burnt, so it's a bit warmer. With any of the browns, if you're going with raw, it's always going to be a little bit of a cooler tone, whereas the burnt kind of like brings it up warm, just like a fire. And then titanium white, which you can't see, but that's okay. You know it's there. I'll show you how to mix it. And then the last one we're gonna try, oops, there's still some white on there, is Carbon Black. Oh, she's ready to come out and play. So those are the 12 colors that come in the 12 pack. So you really do have the full spectrum of the rainbow at the tip of your fingers that you can take anywhere that you want. So let's just, before we go on, take some of the white. And these are great too because you can use them a little bit to mix right on. It's not going to be your traditional palette, but so there is some titanium white with your ultramarine blue. And look how beautiful that is. It's just so lovely. And there you go. Let's play around with some color mixing so you can see some good color combinations that you might like to use in your own practice. So the first one I'm going to show you is how to make a beautiful French gray. All you need is some raw umber. Let's take that. You don't need a lot. So put that there. And then we're also going to need some cerulean blue. This will either work for cerulean blue or cerulean blue hue. It doesn't really matter, you'll get the same effect either way. So when we mix the two together, it kind of looks a bit muddy. You're probably going, Tori, what are you telling me to do? Believe me, this is going to be beautiful because you really just need the final color to really bring it out, which is titanium white. You could use warm white as well. I won't judge you. But once you start mixing that white in, you're really gonna see a difference. Oop. Don't do what I do. Always wash your brush before you go into other colors. But now, once you have the raw umber, the cerulean blue, and the titanium white, you're gonna have this beautiful French gray that is a great neutral color that you can use for backgrounds or for drapery. You could even use it in the sky if you want. It's just a really lovely neutral blue. And you just need 3 colors. Let's also go back to talking about the phthalo green because we were talking about it before when we did the swatch about how it's a really beautiful, bright, vibrant green, but maybe if you're out in the field, it's going to be a little too vibrant. It's not really a natural green per se. It's not a leaf green, but you can make it a leaf green. So let's take some of that phthalo green. And we're gonna put it on our palette. Let's get a little bit more. So we've got our phthalo green. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna tone it down a little bit. And the best way to ever tone down a color is to use this complementary color. So we are gonna take, what red do I wanna use? Depending on which red you use, that's gonna change the tone of it. But any red will really do or work. So what I am going to use, oh God, there's too many reds and I love them all. We're gonna go with my favorite red, which is alizarin crimson. So we're just taking a little bit. When you're mixing in complementary colors, you don't wanna go too full throttle right off the bat. You wanna start with just a little bit. Because once you add too much, it's gonna be too far. Let's add a little bit more. So you can see as I'm mixing in the red, that green is starting to darken up a little bit. And then once we pull it on our paper, you're really gonna see the change in it. So now we have a really beautiful darker phthalo green. This will be perfect for undertones in your foliage or really anything. But we can also do the same thing if you want to, say, lighten it up. So we're going to take some more of the phthalo green just off to the side. And say you want to lighten up, you don't always have to use a complementary color. You could use something as simple as a yellow. Yellow is a really great alternative to white to lighten up colors. So let's use, I'm gonna go with Bismuth Yellow Medium, which is also a really great color for a yellow. It's a great color for mixing because it keeps your colors really clean, keeps them from getting muddy. So this is really lightening it up just a bit. Let's pull that as well. So now you've got a little bit of a lighter green, and it kind of takes the edge off the tone of the phthalo green. Now it is still a pretty vibrant green. It may work for your foliage, it may not. But if that's the case, you can always still use a little bit of a complementary color. So let's this time use a little bit of transparent pyrrole red. I'm going to take this. We're going backwards now. We're going to put the green into the red. You can see the pyrrole red has still given us a much different green than what we started with. You could add some of the yellow into that as well if you wanted it lighter, but still have it be more toned down. So now you have a bit of a lighter green, but it's still a bit more toned down. With just a few different colors, you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different shades of phthalo green. And I know I used a mix between our full dot card and our 12 dot card, but you can do the exact same thing with the colors just on our 12 dot card. So you can have this full range wherever you go. Thanks for joining us today as we explored our Tri Art watercolor dot cards. I had a great time filming it, and I hope you had a great time watching.